BusinessNet Explorer, product news podcast channel. This is B&E Product News, supporting specifiers and buyers. This podcast is sponsored by the B&E Product News podcast library. Well, hi, this is Mick de Leyburn for BusinessNet Explorer, and welcome to this special edition B&E Product News Brand Leader Project Viewpoint podcast. So, going for a swim in the fresh air, that sounds really healthy, doesn't it? A combination of exercise and fresh air sounds just perfect. In fact, probably highly recommended in the current situation for those fit enough to do so. But you would quite rightly picture yourself being outdoors when doing it. So what about when the weather gets cooler? How close can indoor pool operators get to recreating this healthy, hopefully COVID-19 free swimming environment within a building for pool users? We thought we would ask industry thought leader Martin Killen, MD at Recotherm, and a popular guest on this podcast series, if and how this can be achieved. Martin joins us on the phone. Well, hi Martin, thanks for joining us for this special edition B&E Product News Brand Leader Project Viewpoint podcast.
Thank you for inviting me, Mick.
Always a pleasure. So, firstly, what is the current guidance regarding indoor swimming pool ventilation, and what is your response when an indoor pool operator asks for your advice regarding mitigating the spread of COVID-19 in their pool areas?
What should I do about COVID-19? I wish I had a pen for every time I've been asked that question in the last 9 months. My expertise lies in swimming pools, so any comments I make are specifically related to swimming pools. There is no specific information from the government with regard to pools, but we can apply the government's general guidance, which has been produced in conjunction with the Chartered Institute of Building Services Engineers. You can look this up online, but the main points are: wherever possible, run the units on full fresh air, run the ventilation systems for longer, when unoccupied, run the systems at lower speed to keep the air moving instead of switching them off, avoid recirculation between rooms where the unit is serving a single space is less of a concern. The main objective is to avoid stagnation.
So how does this apply specifically in an indoor swimming pool environment?
Normally in a swimming pool, we are serving a single area, so recirculation is acceptable. There are a lot of companies on the market that use mechanical dehumidifiers and only introduce a small amount of fresh air. Indeed, there are some that don't introduce fresh air at all. These companies will find it difficult to comply with the latest government recommendations without fundamentally redesigning their units. That is because the fresh air they have to introduce because of COVID-19 will eliminate the need for a mechanical dehumidifier. Most of the units on the market that use mechanical dehumidification do not have any other form of heat recovery on the fresh air, so they become total loss systems discharging heat into the atmosphere.
Well, I know you're a fresh air fan. In fact, your brand is renowned to be one of the clear leaders in this technology for ventilating swimming pools. Can you tell us more about what Recotherm can offer the market as a fresh air solution for indoor swimming pool ventilation?
At Recotherm, we've always championed the use of full fresh air as the best way of dehumidifying the pool hall. So every unit we sell can bring in large amounts of fresh air. Indeed, wherever possible, we have designed our units to be able to run on full fresh air, even in the middle of winter when the ambient temperature is at its lowest.
Are there any downsides to switching to full fresh air?
There is a downside to switching to full fresh air. In the winter, the ambient air contains very little moisture, so only a small amount, say 10 or 20%, is required to control the humidity. Under these circumstances, the Recotherm units would normally reduce the amount of fresh air introduced. But if we are to stipulate that they must operate at a higher fresh air rates, then the internal humidity will drop. This will increase the evaporation from the pool and thus increase the running cost. But it also makes the wet occupants feel colder as the water on their bodies evaporates quicker.
It sounds like there's a need to strike a balance somehow between safety and comfort.
I feel we need to be flexible. We need to increase the level of fresh air, but not to a point where we are deterring people from coming to the pool because they feel cold. It may well be that in 5 years' time, when we had time to analyse the data, we will find out that COVID cannot live in the swimming pool environment. But for the moment, we need to err on the side of caution and increase the amount of fresh air to a level that is sustainable without affecting the daily running of the pool.
Well, Martin, thank you again for joining us on the B&E Product News podcast for the construction and building service industry and sharing with us some of the thought leadership that drives the Recotherm brand's ongoing ability to research and engineer solutions and develop products to help pool operators maintain an indoor swimming pool environment that is just as healthy as swimming outdoors in the fresh air. Fantastic work.
Thank you, Mick. Cheers.
For more information about the Recotherm range of products, please go to www.recotherm.co.uk. Well, thank you for joining us for this latest edition of the B&E Product News podcast. And please, stay safe. Follow us on Twitter at B&E Product News to keep updated on our latest product news podcast releases, and visit us at businessnetexplorer.com to find more product news and information for specifiers and buyers in the construction and building services and associated manufacturing and energy sectors. BusinessNet Explorer podcasts are now available via the Apple Podcasts app, iTunes and on Spotify. You can subscribe to access our existing content and, of course, to receive every new podcast that we publish in audio format.